Today we're going to be starting off by going around, and each of us is going to talk about an area from Breath of the Wild that we thought had a lot more potential and that we would like to see explored in Breath of the Wild too. That could be a city that was in ruins or a town that was in ruins, an area that was just abandoned or buried in the sand. They had Arbiter's Grounds, but it was just like the very top, presumably the very top of Arbiter's Grounds, and it was all just buried under the sand. Or it could have just been the bottom and it was just completely destroyed. Don't really know. But going along with that, Daniel, to start us off, do you have an area that you would love to see rebuilt or explored that they didn't really give us too much information on in Breath of the Wild?
It's so... There's so many very cool places in that game to choose just one, but I think one place that there's already a lot going on there, but the Forgotten Temple in Breath of the Wild, which is right at the end of Tangar Canyon, almost like a one-to-one recreation of a similar area in Skyward Sword, but I feel like they were on the cusp of something really great, and just like if I don't know if there was some more involvement with the story there or something, would have been really cool to see. And I feel like we might see something in the sequel there, which I mentioned probably in a previous podcast. But you go there, it's like a really cool, almost like huge reference to Skyward Sword, but there's not that much going on there except for like, I want to kill you. So I don't know. It's and then there's a shrine and a big statue, but not much else going on. Would have been cool to see more, I guess.
All right, 𝐓𝐵. Do you have an area?
I wouldn't say like a specific area that I'm interested in, but I feel like a lot of people definitely agreed that it was like all of like the water section of the game, that there was so much water, and you knew like there was occasionally they'd put chests in the water, but that was pretty much the extent of it. That's what I'd like to see more of in the next game, is kind of more of that exploration. Every
tiny little pond.
Heck yeah, I want to swim to the bottom of them.
Yeah. So something I've been theorizing, and I'm sure a lot of people is, but every single time that we have Zora's, we always have like Zora's, not Zora's domain, the water temple. Such a simple thing. I kept thinking like Zora Temple or something. No, Water Temple. The Water Temple. Ocarina of Time, Twilight Princess. It's always like, you go to Lake Hylia, there's always like an island of sorts that's like poking out of the water. There may or may not be a bridge near it or other islands, but there's always like the main island there. And then underneath the island, underwater, is like a little opening that leads you to the Water Temple. And presumably that could be in Breath of the Wild. Like Breath of the Wild 2 could start, you get whatever ability it is that lets you swim underneath the water finally, and you go to this area that you've been so familiar with throughout the whole game, and you go there and suddenly there's just like a little hole or whatever. Or maybe you get like underwater special bombs or something that opens up the area, and like they're just like, no, the Water Temple, it was there the whole time. Like Breath of the Wild, it always had the dungeons, you just couldn't get to them. And then that's just Nintendo's way of cleverly introducing all of these dungeons and temples that everyone's like, well, Breath of the Wild's Hyrule.
Every dungeon is the Water Temple now.
Yeah, like Breath of the Wild's Hyrule. Like there's a lot of people it's like, oh, it would be my favorite, but it doesn't have like traditional themed dungeons. And then Nintendo could just be like, no, it was always there, you just couldn't get to it. So
that sounds like something they do.
Yeah.
Now every dungeon's the Water Temple. Careful what you wish for.
So,
please, I hate swimming mechanics so much.
So Josh, what is an area from the game that you would love to get some backstory or new story from?
So I'm a big nostalgia nut. I'm wearing a Link to the Past T-shirt right now.
Beautiful shirt.
Right, like I'm a huge nostalgia nut. So I'm gonna ask a couple questions because I want to make sure you guys are the pros here when it comes to I got about 120 hours in Breath of the Wild, and I haven't touched it in probably a year and a half, if not longer. And so, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Temple of Time is like in ruins, right? It's kind of near where you start,
Right.
Right.
Correct.
And then you mentioned there was also a nod to Skyward Sword, correct?
Yeah.
Is there nods to most of the past Zelda games, or a lot of them?
There is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there are nods. There are even hints to the CDI games.
No.
Interesting.
that is you looking too far into it.
No, there is the map. The
All
map
right.
from the
No.
CDI game.
No.
Give us proof. Tell us more.
Wait,
Proof is the skeleton in the desert. We've talked about it before. the giant skeleton in the desert.
No.
But it doesn't count.
I say it does count.
No.
It even has the same pointy nose for like a bone
All
skull.
right, that's it. It's time to make a video.
It's a podcast over.
what have I done? I've already ruined it. Like, well, excuse me, princess, but no,
We
like,
can't be friends.
I'm just all about nostalgia, right? And
Right.
I loved like what Mario Odyssey did, where there was a lot of love just shown to the fans that have been with the series since the beginning, going back into the 8-bit stuff. I'm not saying I want to see Zelda do the same thing, but I would love to possibly experience some of the Ocarina of Time in Breath of the Wild. Like if the Temple of Time took us somewhere that we had to, you know, do some kind of quest that kind of just, it doesn't have to go back to looking like a 64 game, anything like that. I'm not saying that whatsoever, but to you know, maybe the game, part of the storyline is the Temple of Time. Maybe it plays a big part, and you have to go back to Zelda to Hyrule in different time periods and have something explored that way, but see it with the Breath of the Wild engine and just the way, you know, the way it would look. And so that's again, because I'm just such a big nostalgia nerd. I would love to see something like that.
I'm all over that. I love that.
Yeah,
That-
I think that's cool. Like, would we do them like for series kind of back, but we do like nostalgia style? Because I
Or
think
were you
someone-
thinking like, you know, in spoiler alert, but you guys seen Avengers Endgame, right?
Spoiler alert!
Yeah.
That was months ago.
I know, but like still, Endgame. Think about this. You know, in Endgame, they go back in time and they revisit a whole bunch of all these different events that happened in the Marvel movies of the past, right? So, are you thinking something along those lines, where you use the Temple of Time to time travel, as you know, it's been used to do in the past, and you revisit all these different times throughout the series that have already occurred that way, or like something similar to that, or
Yeah, something like that. It wouldn't necessarily have to be that extreme. But it could be the kind of thing that maybe there's even the opportunity where you have to meet up with young Link during his adventure in Ocarina of Time and hook him up with some kind of item, and then you move on. Like you don't, like you already know how that story plays out, but maybe there's a twist that we have to play a
have to
part.
wear a costume.
Cool.
Well, I don't have any idea, right? I'm just going off the cuff, but I mean,
Right.
anything that just kind of that is a nod to those classic games and those Easter eggs and anything like that. Like I don't want to see it completely rehashed where it's like we have to go back and redo, you know, an entire game in the series or anything like that. But just those little nods that are like, but maybe a little more than just like, yeah, here's the Temple of Time, but like, well, maybe we run into a past character, past NPC, or you know, things like that just that are a definite like, oh yeah, that was somebody from Ocarina of Time, and that was somebody from Link to the Past, and so on and so forth, or even a particular area, you know. So
I love
So
it.
a link
Dig it.
between, sorry.
Come on.
I
Go.
was gonna say
Go,
a
Jess. Go.
Link Between Worlds on the 3DS does this really cool thing to where they kind of hint towards the old man in that game. Most Zelda games have some sort of old man figure, and the old man in A Link Between Worlds is hinted at being the Link from A Link to the Past. So the original game that A Link Between Worlds was based on. And it's because in the 3DS Street Pass events, when you battle against someone else's Shadow Link or whatever, after you fight so many Shadow Links, it all ends with you fighting him. And of course he's dressed in like the green tunic and everything, just as Link normally would be, and he's an older man like you would assume Link would be after so many years have passed. And then there's a guy that's like his roommate or a storyteller or someone like that.
It's the rumor guy, doesn't he?
Yeah, and he says that the old man has been on like so many adventures or something like that before. So like there are like subtle hints at like him being the old Link. And then of course when you fight against him, he has all of the same items that Link would normally have as well. So there are cool things like that, to where like Nintendo has kind of like teased the idea of two separate Links from two different games coming into contact with each other. So
it's true. Plus, I mean, there's the Hero Shade as well.
Oh yeah, that's
was
a big
the
one.
ghost of Link past teaching moves to Twilight Princess Link. So
yeah,
it'd be great.
Yeah, and if it's the Temple of Time, like it is the Temple of Time, but like if it was a working Temple of Time, then like if it gets rebuilt along with the rest of Hyrule or whatever, then maybe they could use it again to somehow time travel. That's been my dream for, I guess this goes into like the area that I would like to see like redone, because I think a lot could yeah, kind of, but I feel that there's a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? A lot of possibility. No, that's not it. I don't know. Anyways, there's a lot of possibilities with the Temple of Time. Like, if they just moved the goddess statue out of the way, like that giant goddess statue, and there's like, if it was like built around the pedestal or whatever from Ocarina of Time, and Link puts this Master Sword in that pedestal, and then suddenly, just as when he puts it in the pedestal in the forest, it takes him to the Master Trials. If he did it in the Temple of Time, like in Twilight Princess, when he does it, it makes that like that invisible step that goes up to the window, and then when he goes through the window, it takes him to the Temple of Light or Temple of Time, whatever dungeon you would want to call it. But technically, like, that's supposed to be in like the Sacred Realm, which is the other dimension from Zelda games. And then in Ocarina of Time, when he uses the Master Sword and the pedestal, it takes him back and forth in time. So I would like to see how, if Breath of the Wild put the pedestal back in the Temple of Time, how could Nintendo now, like what kind of unique, cool idea could they come up with for it to be used in Breath of the Wild 2? So
and there's all sorts of ways they could repurpose areas too. Like we even saw them dabble with things like that in Champions Ballad, where they're like, oh, the room you wake up in the middle or at the beginning of the game, oh, now it's an elevator too. Just because there you go, we need a way to take you to this new area. So they could absolutely work something in easily.
Well, elevators are cool.
Elevators are cool, but Temple of Time is cooler because it's, again, more of a nod to previous games, which I love.
All right. I guess for a fifth one, does anyone have another area on their mind? Daniel, Chubes, Josh.
I'm like struggling to remember the game somewhat. So,
Oh,
like,
no.
Like, to be honest, like I'm like
Yeah. I don't see anyone in the chat naming anything.
Yeah.
I think Gibbs said in the chat, he said, what if the statue is guarding a secret underground entrance, which reminds me of Wind Waker, where the big Hero of Time statue moves.
Oh yeah, there's the
Master Sword hidden there.
The seventh
in Hyrule Castle.
The seventh heroine in the Gerudo region that like they built up story wise, but they never really did anything with.
Eighth heroine.
Eighth heroine, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, for me, honestly, anything Breath of the Wild that is more of a dungeon that we get to go and explore and have like puzzles in, that's I mean that's the simple answer, but I think that's the thing everybody's been saying for a very, very long time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like that's and I mean, and not that I want to necessarily rehash the bosses from the old games, although that's happened for many iterations, right? But I do really hope, as far as like dungeons and just the boss fights, that we see some more variety. I want to see what some of the what some of these creatures could look like in the art style of Breath of the Wild versus just the bosses that we had, which were all very similar, other than, hey, maybe we'll add wings, or you know what I mean, like
I thought the Wind Blight Ganon looked like a disfigured Mega Man. Because he has the huge the arm cannon.
Oh dear.
I mean, I guess so.
That's
yikes. Mega Man's seen better days. Oh no. Yeah, I mean, the only other area I could think of is maybe Castletown, because we see it in, and I know it sounds super cliche because we've probably talked about it to death before. Yeah. You see it in the cutscenes, in the memories, like this full thriving city, and then you go there in the game and it's just like ruins, and it's like a Guardian's playground. So that's the only, be really cool to see that either rebuilt or
you even see the fan art of it and creating a champion as well, and it makes you really want to go back to that time, right? Or maybe go forward to that time, because who knows, maybe it will be rebuilt, who knows.
All right. So, what, Daniel?
What? What
were you saying?
Go ahead.
Before I interrupted.
No, not that. I'm good. I'm not. I interrupted you. You're good. Go ahead, Jesse.
I was going to say, since we are going to the second topic, would Josh like to perform a demo of his song?
Ooh, it's dangerous to go alone. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
You guys ready for some live music? We'll see how it comes through on the recording here.
Yeah. So when can we expect the official version
to
come along?
Release.
Yeah, the real release. So I'm probably going to sit down tomorrow and get it all knocked out, and then it'll take me probably another day just to get the music video done. So it'll be up on my YouTube channel by Wednesday. There we go. Wednesday.
By Wednesday.
I don't know when does this come out? When does this show come? Like,
I mean, we're live right now.
Yeah, we're this will remain up on YouTube, and then this segment, I'll probably just keep it at the end of the first, as like a reward for the people that sat through and watched
Those
it.
who tolerated us.
Yeah, and then and then that'll probably go up like Monday or Tuesday. So
okay, cool. So it'll be a race.
Yeah.
Editing race. It's on.
All right, here we go. I got the lyrics in front of me here. It's not a long song, but it's a lot of fun. I have some fun with this one. So it's called It's Dangerous to Go Alone, and it's all going to take place with, I'm just going to record footage from the first game for it. So here we go. How we're gonna feel with a tunic and a shield. Danger, danger on all sides. I'm trying to be brave as I get into this cave. And I wonder what I will find. All started with a bearded man with a sword in his hand saying, take this, dangerous to go. With a sword in my hand, driving darkness from the land. Evil, evil will not prevail. All the monsters I've slain while throwing my boomerang. Princess, princess will not fail. I started with a bearded man with a sword in hand saying, take this, it's dangerous to go. With courage, power, wisdom. With a master sword, I will break your hold on this kingdom. With courage, power, wisdom. With a master sword, I will break your hold on this kingdom. I started with a bearded man with a sword in hand saying, take this, it's dangerous to go alone. Thank you, thank you.
My soul.
Discord pooped on that entirely, but it was great. Oh man, I love it. That was great.
The song is too powerful for Discord to handle. That's what it is.
We're just ready for such beauty.
Exactly.
Oh man. Everyone seems really happy though. They loved that. They ate that right up.
Cool. Well,
Yeah.
I'll get a clear version out this week. So
Yeah.
I don't
So
see
exciting.
any negative posts, so
No,
it's all good.
no, they're loving it.
Can you imagine
got
someone's
some-
coming on the live chat like, how dare you guys sing on
so I sing to my subscribers when they come in when they sub on my channel on Twitch,
Yeah.
and I had somebody who was like, "You need to stop that and put the guitar away right now." I was like, "What?
What?
Well, what?
Why?
They're like, "I just
Why?
found you on TikTok. Stop playing your guitar." I was like, "What? What?"
They're there for the wrong reasons.
banning that person from the internet immediately.
Honestly.
This guy's like, no fun allowed.
Mm-mm. I love it. And thank you to Just X, Justin, and Danny for the super chats. I guess they loved the song that much they had to throw in their bits.
Awesome.
Throw in their biddies.
Their
Thank you
biddies.
guys. Thank you guys in chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
But Danny says, "Now Daniel, you sing." Nope. I can't follow that performance.
I don't think I've ever heard Daniel sing.
Oh, do you watch my streams?
Oh, I mean, like, actually sing, not like, not stream sing. Come on,
Not
everyone stream sings.
I think we all do it. Oh, no, that was great. So
I appreciate you guys let me come on and play it. It's a lot of fun. So
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
and
it's-
I mean, here's the other thing. On my YouTube channel right now, I have a Mario song called "Another Castle," and it's sang from the perspective of Mario trying to find his princess. And then last weekend, I was streaming and I was like, guys, I'm gonna take a break from Animal Crossing. I want to just record a song, write and record a song today. And they were like, ooh, write it about the weapons that break in Animal Crossing.
Yeah, I remember that too.
Yeah, so in 4 hours we wrote and recorded the entire thing, and then the next day I captured a bunch of footage and put the music together, and it it looks like my little dude in Animal Crossing is not only the singer in the band, but then also running around and making the story happen. So
Yeah,
That's so great.
I love it. It's so good.
That's
it's a lot of
fantastic.
fun.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
I need to go check that out. All right.
All right.
So you guys
Time
ready
on
for
to the
Paper Zelda?
Yee,
Let's
do it.
do it.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about a fan-made Paper Zelda trailer. They call it a parody